What's going on, Wiz Nation? Coming back at you guys with another episode of State of the Wizards. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm your host, D-Can, along with my co-host, K. Jose. K. Jose, what's good?
You over here dancing?
Hey.
After that, the Misters got that #1 pick, my dude. Got to support the
Misters. I saw that. Natasha Cloud doing her thing. She was doing the gritty out there, Hey.
Definitely happy for the Mystics that they got that #1 pick. They can finally go ahead and get their future franchise player. Still have Elena Delle Donne. If they're able to bring back Meesman, I think I read that Tina Charles probably may not resign because she wants to win a championship. But now that the Mystics got the #1 pick, that she may change her mind. So we shall see. But they about to be stacked this upcoming season.
We're gonna see, man. I'm excited for them. I'm happy for them. Coach Tebow, is there any way he can come over to the Wizards side and become a manager for us or something?
I love him to do that.
He's building something over there, for the women. Why don't he come on over here to the men's and help us out over on this side? Maybe Tommy Shepard could use some of his help.
For real. They might as well start playing that song. Anything you can do, I can do it better. No, you can't. Yes, I can. They might as well play that.
Nice. So, we are back. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you. Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Also, follow me at Wiz Takes, at Wizards Mafia on Twitter. Follow DC Hoopla at DC Hoopla on Twitter. And also subscribe to DC Hoopla on YouTube. And subscribe to Wiz Takes on Patreon. And don't forget to follow State of the Wizards on Instagram and Twitter.
Absolutely.
So, what we got on today on tap? Well, first, let me before we get started, I want to introduce something new to State of the Wizards. So we're gonna do a little trivia, right? A little trivia. I'm gonna ask you a question, and we're gonna start this thing off on each episode, giving us a little Wizards history, a little Wizards lesson, a little Wizards trivia. We're going to have fun with this thing.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Let's see if you can get this answer right. Sounds good around this holiday season?
Sounds good. Let's go.
All right, bet. So, we some Wall supporters, Wall fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I was like, let me see how much my man K. Jose, he a big Wall fan. Let me see how much he know about my man Wall. How many times did John Wall lead the Wizards in assists? A, 4, B, 3 times, C, 5 times, or D, 6 times?
D, what was the last one that you broke up?
Okay, how many times did Wall lead the Wizards in assists? Was it 4 seasons, 3 seasons, 5 seasons, or 6 seasons?
That's a good question. 6 seasons?
Damn. It was 5.
5. Okay,
5 was the correct answer.
Should have went with 5. That's how many times he's been an all-star with the Wizards.
Right. I mean, my man's 5-time, 5 deep, and he led the Wizards in assists 5 seasons, man. 2011, 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017. So my man Wall was out there doing his thing, leading his team in assists.
I should have known that anyway because I should have counted the seasons that he was out,
right?
Which was food. Well, okay.
Right. So we had some fun with that. So let's go ahead and get started, man, on today's segment.
Well, just that question alone kills me being a prophet.
Oh man. So. The Wizards came off a victory the other night against the Jazz. Right
Hmm.
now, we're sitting 16 and 15, seventh place in the East.
Right.
One game ahead of four teams for the 12th spot. So even though we're sitting seventh in the East, we're only one game ahead of four teams for the 12th spot.
Yeah.
So let's start off here. My question to you is, when we look at the current state of the Wizards, what did you get out of the victory, number one? And then number two, where do you see this team headed after that win against the Jets?
Will, that was actually that can be a confidence game, beating the Jazz. Um, I didn't expect them to win that game. Bradley Beal played one hell of a game offensively. Defensively, he didn't play that bad either. So it was a pretty solid game. But Denny's defense on Donovan Mitchell was phenomenal.
Yep.
They actually was able to contain Rudy Gobert, where he wasn't that much of a major factor. Now, people will say, hey, Mike Conley Jr. wasn't there. If he was playing, it might have been a different story, possibly. But it was a good win. Now, when you ask the question about the barometer of the team, I'm not too sure yet if I could sit here and say that the team is going to actually turn the corner, because that one game was just a small sample size. I'm not really too concerned about Denny, because he's been consistent these last several games for us. His defense and now his offense is starting to catch up.
Well, small sample size of what?
Small sample size of if what they did against the Utah Jazz can work against going against other teams. We play Chicago next week. Can we do that against Chicago? I don't know. Are we going to be able to do that when we play against the Philadelphia 76ers? I don't know. So I can't really sit here and say that we've turned a corner yet, just based off of one game. We got to play the Knicks Thursday, and mind you, this is right before the Christmas break. You know how the Wizards usually do when it comes down to some type of a holiday season. They usually check out. So still a lot that needs to be seen. When you just talked about the 76ers leapfrogging over us, and when you talk about, hey, we're just one game away from being a 12th seed, it tells you how competitive the Eastern Conference is. So all it takes is for one slip.
Right, a lot of parity in the East.
A lot of parity in there. So we don't have no room for error anymore. Right. Those days of having that cushion when we were 10-3, those days are over.
Right, I agree. So I saw that, the Wizards shot 44% from the field. Utah shot 43% from the field. What I took away from that game was definitely the defense. We stepped up, we played big. Like you said, Denny played phenomenal defense on Donovan Mitchell. He's definitely come into his own.
Right.
Not only that, when you look at Denny right now, Denny is actually shooting the ball at a much higher rate, at a much higher clip.
Right.
2 for 2 from three. So the thing is with Denny is you're not only getting what his improvement on defense, but you're also getting the improvement on the offensive end. And it's a slow progression, but it is a progression. So,
right.
One thing I can take away from the Utah game was that, Denny's growth is happening right before our eyes.
Absolutely. I agree.
Then you got, you got the fact that, he's efficient. So he's taking care of the basketball. Even though he only had 2 turnovers, he's forced opposing teams into turning the ball over, into taking bad shots. Right. He was a plus 23. He finished with 11 points, 2 assists, 7 rebounds on 4 for 5 shooting.
Right.
The man is absolutely playing stellar basketball right now.
Right.
And hopefully Wes Unseld Jr. can, he can really appreciate what he's seeing in the maturation process of Denny. Because, maybe some coaches are looking at it like, okay, he's giving us this now, but is he going to give us this against, like you said, the Knicks? Or is he going to give us this during against the Sixers, for example. Like,
Right.
is this something that we're going to start to see on a continuous basis, or is this just something we're going to see every now and then?
Right.
So with that said, I just want them to really appreciate Denny's improvement in his maturation process.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, Bill finished with 37.
Right.
CP finished with 13. Gafford finished with 12. Kuzma finished with 8. Like I said, Denny finished with 11. Trez finished with 11. And Neto finished with 15. So you had about 5 guys. Oh, and Dinwiddie put up a big fat 0, by the way, in 25 minutes. So
right.
I'm going to go into that, right? So you and I both have talked about this, and we covered this in our podcast. All right. Yeah. Dinwiddie has stressed that this is an equal opportunity system, right? So outside of Bradley Beal, everyone else is supposed to get an equal amount of touches and an equal amount of shot attempts. So based off of what we saw in that Utah game, and I want to say Dinwiddie made a statement during what game was that? It was the Kings game where I think no one shot over 10 field goal attempts that game. This game, Bill shot 24 times. All right, he was 13 for 24. The next highest field goal attempts was KCP. He was 5 for 14. And then you had Daniel Gafford, excuse me, Kyle Kuzma, 4 for 12. And then you got Gafford at 10 field goal attempts and Howell Neto at 12 attempts. So to me, it looks like everyone not only got more attempts than the Kings game, but it seems as if, the reason why we won this game was because more people got to shoot the ball.
Right.
So give me your take on the fact that people are trying to, I guess in so many words, dismiss this narrative that, the equal distribution of this team should not be what it is because everyone is just not good enough to equally distribute the ball. Go ahead.
I'm not really trying to hear that this year. I think we've been hearing that every year, where the supporting cast is trash. Now, again, just when we were 10-3, we didn't hear that the supporting cast was an issue. We didn't hear this even during the off season when we made the trades. So a few days ago, when I did my episode of DC Hoopla and I did some research, I remember I had actually looked at the offense that we were running last season. Bill and Russ was averaging about 22 shots a game. And in supporting cast then, the most that they were putting up on an occasion was maybe no more than 10 or 11 shots. Every now and then you may see what you just distributed just now where a player put up 12 shots, maybe put up 13 shots. But even during the playoffs and the play-ins, I still saw the exact same amount from the supporting cast where guys weren't shooting no more than 10 or 11 shots. Mm-hmm. So against the Utah Jazz, in my opinion, it looked like if it was a point that was trying to be proved that, okay, I'm going to make sure everybody get their shots. Since everybody's complaining, I'm going to make sure that their guys get the shots. Now, what did Montrezl Harrell, what was his shot attempts?
Trez put up that game. He shot 4 for 6.
4 for 6. What did Dinwiddie shoot? Even though he had a donut.
Dinwiddie shot 0 for 7.
0 for 7, and KCP shot what again?
5 for 14.
5 for 14. Yeah. So I'm just going to focus on Montrezl Harrell and Spencer Dinwiddie. Those two guys have been the most vocal during this losing skid of talking about players not getting the amount of shot attempts. Those two guys got less than 10 shot attempts.
Oh, the two guys who
spoke out
in your mind or based off of what you've seen or what you've read, you're saying that Dinwiddie and Trez are the two guys who are most unhappy in this offense because
Absolutely.
they're not getting the
Absolutely.
field goal attempts. Okay.
Because Spencer Dinwiddie has said that he was the one that put out with the equal, opportunity offense. He
Right,
was the one that put that out.
because Dinwiddie said, if I'm not mistaken, the volume's not there.
He said it. The volume is not there. And then Montrezl Harrell said, I want to say it was either after, maybe it was the Kings game or who did we play before the Kings? I think it was either the Kings game after that loss. He said something on the line of it doesn't make a difference what we say, it's not going to change shit. Or shit ain't going to change. He said something on the line of that.
No matter what we talk about, shit ain't
no matter what we say, shit is not going to change. That's another player that's not happy because at one point, Montrezl Harrell was getting up to at least about 14 shot attempts. There were times where he would put up 25, 28, have a double-double. He's at the free throw line. Fans are chanting MVP. Now, all of a sudden, you don't even see this guy energetic anymore. Now he's wearing wall shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's really talking about it. But the thing is, you got two players who are not happy, who feel like they can't play this style of basketball. Now, the narrative was on Sunday, well, KCP was able to eat, Howell Neto was able to eat, Denny is able to eat. Why these two guys not eating? Because those two guys feel like that probably was nothing more than a facade. So you probably have two guys who just disgruntled, say, hey, I'm not going to go out there and kill myself for the sake of this guy. They're saying some of the same things that we heard allegedly players were saying about John Wall. Hey, we're not able to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, right now, to me, it's still a concern because you still have disgruntled players on here, and I think that unless something is addressed, we're going to be stacking up more L's than more W's because I think that's still lingering. Not unless those guys are possibly moving. I'm not advocating those guys to be moved, but I won't be shocked if they are moved by the deadline.
So earlier today, I had posted a question.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I just don't understand how we criticize Dinwiddie in this offense when Neto is literally doing the same thing in the half court.
Right.
The clear difference maker is how Bill plays with the two. He doesn't defer in those plays sets with Dinwiddie the same way he does with Neto.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at this team, when I look at this team and I look at the way this team plays, right now, when we talking about field goal attempts, we're talking about guys getting theirs. Basically, every player on the team feels like they're worth getting field goal shots and field goal attempts. Every player wants their shots. When Dinwiddie says the volume is not there, what he's referring to is that our system and our offense is predicated around one guy. Now, I've seen on Twitter and I've seen people try to shoot down this idea, what Dinwiddie's talking about, because they're saying, well, look at the Jazz, look at the Hornets, look at this team, look at that team. There's all these different teams that play the same style. Why are they complaining about shot attempts? Well, it's simple. If they're not getting the attempts, then their usage rating isn't the same when Bill's on the court, then they can't be productive. They can't be productive. Okay, so the issue that I see is that when, like, for example, if Spencer Dinwiddie needs the ball in his hands to be effective, why are we busy taking the ball out of his hands? So if a guy shoots 0 for 7 and that's concerning to you, don't you think that we should start drawing up plays that gets this guy going early, that gets this guy going, more in this offense? Dinwiddie's actually just picking his spots. And if the shot's not falling, oh well, he's running back down on the court. He's looking at it like, well, where I drop off, somebody's going to pick up in this offense. So you can't complain about me shooting 0 for 7 if, KCP's taking 14 attempts. You see what I'm saying? If KCP is hot, then what he's doing is picking up where I'm leaving off. Basically, where I drop off, KCP's picking up. And sure enough, he did. Did he not this game?
Exactly.
So this offense is equally distributed. That's what the problem is for some of these guys on the team. Now, The Athletic posted that. The Athletic said that was what was being reported out of the locker room, out of the Wizards locker room, was that you had some growing frustration in that locker room about guys not getting their attempts.
Not shocking.
Right. So is it a surprise to anyone that is a problem on this team right now? Is it a shock to you?
Nope.
And why is it not a shock to you?
Because I knew it was coming. I mean, we talked about this during the offseason. The narrative has been build around Bill, do whatever you can to make him happy. Bill said it in his recent podcast that the style of play that we were doing at the time, we were 10-3, or maybe we was 8-3 when he did it. Whatever our record was when he did it, it was a winning record at the time. He said it wasn't sustainable. What do you mean by it wasn't sustainable? Why wasn't it sustainable? What was wrong with it? Again, everybody was talking about, well, the offense is complicated. Players are having a hard time adjusting. But we were winning ball games. It was more so we were playing defense. It wasn't about the offense. Our defense was turning into offense.
Right, but I'm sorry to cut you off. You know what comes with playing defense. You don't get as many possessions a game.
Okay.
So look, let me tell you what I really boiled it down to. The Hornets are the worst defensive team in the league.
Right.
Gordon Hayward is the worst defender in the league. Okay. They have players on that team who plays absolutely zero defense. They lead the league in amount of possessions a game. They're also one of the highest scoring teams in the league.
Damn, sounds like us last season.
Exactly, because they don't play no defense. So when you look at their, matter of fact, let's go ahead and put that in, shall we? Let's go ahead and take a look at the Charlotte Hornets. Oh, God, I love this stuff.
Damn.
Look at that.
30th. And
they are last in the league and
last in the league. Wow.
They give up the most points a game, 117 points per game. But look, they're second in the league in scoring. So they traded their defense for offense. All right, so let's now go to the field goal attempts. Wow. Equal opportunity offense. Look at this. Look at this.
Sheesh.
15 shots, 13 shots, 17 shots, 14 shots, 13 shots again.
Shots. Wow. That's crazy.
So you get it. You get it that when a team is not focused on defense and their only primary goal is to score, this is what you're going to get from a team who's only thinking about scoring. This is what you're going to get. That's an equal opportunity offense, where everyone gets at least close to 15 shot attempts a game. Come on. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. The Hornets are not worried about playing defense.
Nope.
So when we were 10-3, these numbers here that you see, these numbers took a dip.
They were dip, yep.
Because those possessions, you didn't get that amount of possessions to get that many shots.
Right.
You see, that's what we traded. So think about the players who would have had a problem with that. Think about who's in that locker room who was on this team last year, who was used to this, who was used to this right here.
Right.
That's what they were used to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Think about that for a second. And then ask yourself, who would have had a problem with shot attempts at 10-3?
It's pretty obvious. But then you also have to think that we got a couple of new players on here that was concerned about that as well, getting those shot attempts. Because I don't think KCP was one of those players that complained, but if you notice, his shot attempts are slowly starting to increase.
So just for let's take a look at the 2020-2021 Lakers. I just want to see how many attempts KCP did get last year with the Lakers.
Shoot, why not? We can look at what Kuz was getting too.
So KCP was getting 7.6 field goal attempts, and Kyle Kuzma was getting about 11.
Montrez was getting about 8.
Montrez was getting about 8. Yeah.
He was putting up 13 and 5.
Right. I mean, so they're kind of where they are, right, with us. They're kind of where they are with us because Kuz is right at his average. If anything, KCP gets a couple more shots, and then Trez is right at 8.
Right, and Trez is actually averaging more points.
Right, Trez, so here's my thing.
That hot start, though, but go ahead.
But here's my thing. Bottom line is this, right? So you have now Bradley Beal was averaging more attempts during the streak, but he was struggling. He was struggling to get going. He was having, a terrible time getting going. We were 5-1 when he was struggling. We were 10-3 when he was struggling. Okay, we was winning ball games when this man was struggling.
Right, and his field goal attempts did drop down by 3, but it's slowly going up because now he's almost at 20.
Right, because he was just at 18 just a couple games.
18, and his scoring average is going up too.
Right, so
what we're talking about here.
Exactly, because he wasn't at his average. So there had to be something sacrificed somewhere. Why is Bill, Bill is struggling. So where do we pick up? Well, we pick up where some other guys have to fill in. Now, I'm not making excuses for Dinwiddie. We knew what we were getting out of Dinwiddie before the season started, did we not?
Yeah, we did.
I think that's safe to say. Dinwiddie was going to have games like this. Coming back from an ACL injury in his recovery year, he was absolutely going to have games like this. I wasn't putting a lot of stock into him averaging 20 points per game. But what I can say is that Spencer Dinwiddie, what he's saying is absolutely correct. If this is a deep team, because this is the next thing we're going to go into next. People talked about this being a deep team. We talk about depth. If this is a deep team, then you have to start utilizing these guys as if they are valuable. Okay? You have to start I don't care what people think about these guys. You have to start using these guys like they're valuable. So even though Bradley Beal is putting up 19, 20 shots a game, it is Bradley Beal's responsibility to get everybody else going. That's his job. He's the leader of the team.
Right.
So everyone is pointing at Spencer Dinwiddie. And I get it. He's the point guard. But him and Spencer Dinwiddie, they can't play together. And Bradley Beal plays a different brand of basketball when Spencer Dinwiddie's on the court versus when Neto's on the court versus when Aaron Holiday is on the court. Okay? There's more stats out there that prove that every time Beal's in the game, Spencer Dinwiddie's usage rating drops, Aaron Holiday's usage rating drops, and Howell Neto's usage rating drops. But Howell Neto is the highest usage rating guy with Beal on the team. Think about that.
Right.
Neto is the highest usage rating player alongside Bradley Beal on the team. So that's why Neto plays so well with Bradley Beal, because no matter what, Howell Neto still gets his. He still is utilized the way that he's supposed to be. All right. So here's my thing, and then we'll go on to the next one. Looking at what you see here, K. Jose.
Mm-hmm.
What do you what do you think at this point the Wizards need to do going forward that gets more guys involved, that at this point you can say, okay, well, Spencer Dinwiddie's struggling. People are saying let's bench him. What do you say?
Bench him for who? I mean, well, I've seen people say, well, it's time that we should start Denny Avdia, and I think they want Denny to actually run the point. Okay, I get it, because Denny is a pretty good, has good court vision, and he gets his teammates involved. But, you know, when you look at with Howell Neto and Aaron Holiday, these two guys are undersized. So they're always a liability on defense, because if we're playing against a team like, I'll just use the Houston Rockets, for example, and Kevin Porter Jr., if he's healthy, there's a height disadvantage right then and there, whichever one of those two guys is guarding him. So those two guys are only good in spurts. You don't really want to utilize them too much, because eventually it'll become a liability. Now, Howell Neto will have these games where he pretty much will be that lightning in the bottle, and he'll actually keep us in the game. But going forward, what do I think we would need to do? Well, we definitely got to get Montrezl Harrell involved, because we're missing that energy. You know, I think he should get more than 8.5 shot attempts a game. You know, we need to get more alley-oops to Daniel Gafford. Get these guys involved. First of all, you got to feed the men. You know, you got to feed the big guys to get these guys involved. Okay, we see that Dinwiddie is not playing. What do you do to get him involved? Do we going to continue to just keep ignoring him? I mean, Dinwiddie is pretty much out there on the court, just kind of going through the motions. He just, hey, I'll do what I got to do. If I go 0 for 7, but, you know, to your point, KCP steps up. I did my job. I missed 7 shots, but I had, you know, 5 assists. I only had 1 turnover. You know, I didn't cause us to lose the game, because now we can have Dinwiddie out there put up 5 points, and we can sometimes win these ball games if somebody else picks the slack up. That's what the whole purpose of this team was, is that somebody else was going to pick up the slack. That's what we were doing when we were 10-3.
Right. Well, one body drops off, one body drops off, another body
picks it up. But now you're not seeing some of these guys picking it up. And now, which is going to lead into the next topic, everybody's starting to question the depth, when that wasn't the narrative at the beginning of the season. The depth was never in question. Now everybody wants to talk about, okay, well, now these guys are not doing anything. Well, why do you think these guys are not doing anything? What changed? What happened? Yeah. Something had to change.
Yeah.
To the point that he's not doing anything.
Well, we'll talk about that. We'll go further into that in 1 second. I just wanted to piggyback off what you just said about getting guys like Trez and Gafford more involved. You know, that was our bread and butter to start the season, believe it or not. You know, getting second chance points, getting these guys on the boards. You know, yes, we're going to go up against those teams who are way more physical than us, that are way more athletic than us, longer than us. You know, they're going to be matchup problems for Trez. They're going to be matchup problems for Daniel Gafford. But let's not act like we can't go big. We can go big too. That's the thing. Like, you know, we're not an undersized team at all. The thing is look at who's shooting a high field goal percentage on this team. Montrezl Harrell shoots 64%, and Daniel Gafford shoots 65%. There should be no reason why these guys aren't getting more touches. So if Trez is one of those guys that you mentioned who's upset about not getting touches, then he absolutely has an argument to make, because he's having one of his best seasons, and there should be no reason why he's limited to just 8 shot attempts if he's averaging 15 points per game on 60+% shooting. There should be no reason for that. Look, he complained about not having enough opportunity in LA, and he was right at 8 field goal attempts a game, right? We just saw that. He comes to Washington. There's nobody in his way. Daniel Gafford does what he does. Montrezl Harrell comes in, he cleans up. When Montrezl Harrell filled in for Gafford, there was no drop-off. He stepped right into that role. He did his job. Trez deserves more than 8 field goal attempts a game.
Agreed.
He deserves more opportunity. And because he shoots a higher percentage from the field, in my opinion, look at other guys on the team that are shooting poorly. Kyle Kuzma, as many times he bailed us out this season, he's shooting 41% from the field. KCP, 41% from the field. And Bradley Beal was at a career low, in 7 seasons before this recent onslaught of scoring. Spencer Dinwiddie's shooting a career low 37%.
He wasn't shooting like that in the beginning, but go ahead.
No, he wasn't. But the point I'm making is everybody's shooting terrible except for these 2 guys. That's the craziest thing. And I guess my thing is there's people in the Wizardsverse who are making the argument, and okay, that's a great argument. Hey, these guys aren't great. They're not great shooters. Why are we giving these guys more opportunity, more attempts if they're not hitting their shot? Well, it's simple. Shooters shoot. They keep giving them more and more opportunities to shoot. And my thing is, if you drop off, that's not the motto of this team is where somebody drops off, somebody else steps in, right? Well, if one person drops off and then the person steps in is also dropped off, what do?
Right.
Leave the damn person in there.
Right.
Bertans isn't giving you nothing off the bench. Okay, where is Bertans? Bertans
shooting 33%.
33%. Look at that, man.
That's his worst.
That's his worst.
That's his worst in the league. That's his worst in his career. He's shooting 33% from the field, 29% from downtown. But at the end of the day, as you and I always talked about, even back then when we had Nene and Marcin Gortat, you always said we should play inside out, outside in, but more so inside. Get the big man involved early. If you don't feed your big man, you don't get those guys involved early, guess what happens? Let's put it, we can't afford to not have Montrezl Harrell and Daniel Gafford not involved. When you look at how bad we shoot, especially from downtown, you need to get those guys involved. You got Bill shooting at 28% from 3, Kuzma shooting at 33, Howell Neto shooting 25%. You need to feed those. Those are easy buckets. When you got Montrezl Harrell shooting 64% from the field, 65%. I don't care if they're paint points. Paint points are a better, higher percentage shot.
Trez should be at 14, 15 field goal attempts a game.
Absolutely.
Trez, out of anybody on this roster, he should be at 15 field goal attempts a game, man.
Absolutely. Daniel
Gafford should be somewhere at 12 or 13 field goal attempts a game. Okay, it's just that simple. I guess my thing is people make this way more difficult than it has to be. Okay, we get it. Certain guys are just not stepping up. You guys want to Spencer Dinwiddie, and I was going to make this point earlier, and I'll make this point now. It's so easy to go at Spencer Dinwiddie. People are using Spencer Dinwiddie as the scapegoat.
Right.
Okay, it's that simple. Spencer Dinwiddie can get going. You just have to start running plays for Spencer Dinwiddie. Wes Unseld Jr. has already said that he's not running plays for Spencer Dinwiddie. Maybe he needs to call his number more often.
Exactly.
So Spencer Dinwiddie is obviously not a fit into this system because he's not getting the opportunities. I made the point earlier to folks that did not want to listen on Wizardsverse that when Bill's on the court, everyone's usage rating drops. Certain guys, especially the backcourt, Neto, Dinwiddie, Aaron Holiday, those 3 guys specifically, okay? Bradley Beal has to defer his game to those guys for those guys to get involved. Neto is the only guy who has the highest usage rating out of anybody else on the basketball court who is playing alongside Bradley Beal. Why is that acceptable? That's not acceptable. Okay? Everyone's usage rating should not be dropping. Bradley Beal, everyone's saying, well, look at Utah. They run their offense around Donovan Mitchell. Bradley Beal's not Donovan Mitchell. I'm sorry. Okay? He has to sacrifice his game and start trusting his teammates. The problem with this offense is that he is not trusting his teammates. His teammates, when they get the ball, they have no confidence at all to shoot the rock. None. Bradley Beal's going at 100 miles per hour. Everyone else is like this. 25.
Everybody's jogging. Gotcha.
Everyone else is jogging. He's the only one running at 100 miles per hour. He has to defer. There should be no reason why Howell Neto, out of everyone else on the roster, is at a higher usage rating as everyone else. No reason for that.
Do me a favor, man.
So when he goes out, hold on, let me make this final point. When Beal goes out, Spencer Dinwiddie's usage rating goes up. Montrezl Harrell's usage rating goes up. Everyone else's usage rating goes up. So there's a reason why we're 3-0 without Bradley Beal. Does people not understand this? Because everyone else utilization rate is skyrocketing. So while we're playing this style of basketball and this brand of basketball, it's simple, folks. It's simple. Bradley Beal needs to trust his teammates. Trust that Trez can give you way more than 8 field goal attempts again. Trust that he can make the right play. Okay? And look, maybe this can be said for Wes Unseld Jr. too. He's not out of the woods on this. He himself has acknowledged, maybe I need to call more plays for certain guys. Spencer Dinwiddie being one. Why hasn't that been addressed yet? Okay? This problem can be solved. That's the thing. This problem can be solved, but I feel like we're not worried about it as long as we're making one player and one guy look good.
And that's what it is, man.
That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Because no matter what, lose or win, as long as he scores 30,
we're good.
We're good. And here's the problem. We are 8-4 when Beal doesn't lead the team in scoring. We have a winning record when Beal doesn't lead us in scoring. How about that, folks? How about that? We're 8-4.
And what is our record when he does lead us in scoring?
And when he does lead us in scoring, we're 7-11. So did I do that math right? 8-4.
Yeah, I believe it was 7-11. Yeah, you're right. 7-11. Yeah.
7-11. 7-11. And just for those people, well, you know what? I could prove it, but I don't need to prove it. I'm well versed on a lot of statistics. But anyway, that's just the point, and that's the final point I'm gonna make. You know, if you guys need proof, you guys want to check it out, go check it out yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go look it up. This is not about anybody being right about anything. This is facts. This is straight facts. Go look up the conversation that, Spencer Dinwiddie had with the media, okay, about equal opportunity offense. Go look at the tweets from Montrezl Harrell. Go check the box scores and the stats of our recent wins and losses. Go do your own research. You'll find everything that we're saying is factual.
Yeah, it's all there. I mean, people want to compare teams to what type of team we should be. I think we should be this year's Chicago Bulls. Look at the Chicago Bulls this season.
I agree.
DeMar DeRozan is playing one hell of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Zach LaVine has pretty much been deferring big time, and they're winning ball games. Do you see Zach LaVine doing anything to try to mess that up?
No.
I mean, DeMar DeRozan, what is he averaging? Isn't he averaging like a little bit over 25? Isn't he like in the top 7 in scoring this season?
Yeah.
And Zach LaVine is actually the face of the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls want to retain him, and he's in the same situation as Bradley Beal, where he can get a bigger contract. I think Zach LaVine is a couple of years younger than Beal, but he's in a situation where he's going to get a contract extension. But the Chicago Bulls are actually winning basketball games right now. Now, people will probably say, oh, well, their team is a little bit different than ours. Well, wait a minute. That's not what we heard from you guys at the beginning of the season. We should be pretty much right there with him. And Chicago had a hot start too, and they kind of started to fizzle. But my point is that DeMar DeRozan has been playing out of his mind so far this season, and I haven't seen any reports where Zach LaVine was trying to mess up that chemistry that's going on up there in Chicago. Why the hell are we having that problem here in DC? Why isn't anybody talking about that? When Bradley Beal returned when we were 10-3, that's when the losing skid started. You know, we played against the Charlotte Hornets right after that, and Dinwiddie puts up a donut. Nothing was said about it, but everybody's saying, "Oh, well, Dinwiddie is not doing what he's supposed to do." He's the second highest paid player on the team. He's supposed to be doing it. Look at what DeMar DeRozan did. Zach LaVine, look at that. Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are both averaging 26 damn points, and neither one of these guys are point guards, man. Come on. How is that even possible? And look at that. They're both averaging 19 shots a game.
19 shots a game, both of them.
You tell me that can't happen? That can't happen here?
It can, but I'm almost certain that if you had a DeMar DeRozan on this team or Zach LaVine, they're being told to not shoot as much. They're being told that, hey, all the shot attempts, send them Bill's way. To me, that's how I see it. I don't see it any other way. I look at it. I mean, come on, man.
Look at Vucevic. He averages 15 and a half shots a game, and that's a big man.
Vucevic. I mean, exactly. Bro, I don't get this, man. I don't get why it's so hard to understand this concept. This is winning basketball. This is what gets you wins. Why are we reluctant? Why are we reluctant to follow this model right here? This is winning basketball. Why is Trez not getting Vucevic touches? Why is he not getting Vucevic field goal attempts? Why? Why not?
Here's another thing, my dude. Just you got three guards because DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, those are three guards. So I think that's the starting lineup that we're looking at, if I'm correct. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, Caruso, Zach, DeMar, and Lonzo. Well, I think Caruso comes off the bench. Yeah, he comes off the bench.
Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, and DeMar DeRozan. Look at how many turnovers they're averaging at a game.
Man, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. They take care of the basketball.
And with the amount of volume, I mean, Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are averaging 9 shots. They make 9 shots. They're averaging 19 shots. What are they ranked in defense?
Well, so the thing is they're one of the they're one of the top defensive teams in the league, no doubt. If you look at their opponent rank in points, they're ninth. They're basically ninth in the league. They're top 10. They're a top 10 defense.
There you go.
So I guess my thing is this, right? Because we can go down this all day long, and I think it's clear for the people who's watching this now. If we haven't explained this well enough, we apologize. But this team is a defensive-minded team. They're defensive, oriented. They turn their defense into offense. So, they force turnovers. They stop teams from scoring. And they can still get a nice volume amount of shots between their starting 5 guys. I don't think this is a hard concept to understand. I mean, come on.
That's equal opportunity right there for you.
That's equal opportunity, So, I guess, if you want to listen to what Wes Unseld Jr. has to say, if you want to, you're the Chicago Bulls, because this is exactly the type of style that they play as a basketball team. Like, we were doing this in the start of the season. We were 10-3 because we played this way. You were getting more field goal attempts from Spencer Dinwiddie. You were getting more field goal attempts from Kyle Kuzma. You were getting more attempts from certain guys. That sense has dropped off because, guys complained, but bottom line is we need to figure out who on our team is going to be Vucevic, Levine. We're going to say Bill is DeRozan and Ball. We need to figure out who those guys are on this team, because that's all we need to worry about, who gets the shot attempts on this basketball team.
Exactly.
And there should be no reason, again, why Trez and Gafford is at least not at 12 to 15 field goal attempts a game. No reason why they're not.
I agree. I mean, this right here is the perfect example. It shouldn't be, the Jazz or any other team or Charlotte. No, this is the team that you need to be using right here.
Exactly.
You use this team right here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because what they're doing right now is what we were doing just a month ago. They're second in the East as we speak in the Eastern Conference. They're not changing what works for them. But for whatever reason, for one, Zach LaVine doesn't put himself above the team. Right. They're the Chicago Bulls, not the Chicago Levines. We're the Washington Wizards, not the Washington Bills. I know you Bill apologists don't like it, but you got to hear it. It's the truth.
And that's another thing. I don't know what's so bad about criticizing the leader of the team. The problem is that if he's a leader, he would understand that there's more guys that need to get involved in this team and on this offense. Like, you start holding those guys accountable. That's what leaders do.
Yeah, that's what Wes Unseld said in the very beginning of his press. It's all about accountability, but people seem to forget that. But let me kind of clear something up or dead something that I'm seeing a lot of Wizards fans are doing a Wizards verse on Twitter. Stop trolling Lakers fans. Stop it. We have no reason to be trolling Lakers fans whatsoever. First of all, look how many championship banners the Lakers have in the Raptors compared to what we have. We have no right to even be trolling it. Oh, we wanted to trade you guys. Oh yeah, y'all missing these players, y'all missing that play. Man, they not worried about these guys at all. Not at all. Their trash is now our treasure. That's how they looking at it. And we're sitting, the Lakers have won a championship. They won 4, as a matter of fact, in the new millennium. Mm-hmm. Most of our fans weren't even born when the Wizards won a championship. They were called the Bullets at the time. So why are we sitting there trolling Laker fans because, oh, ha, 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 look at Russ, he turned the ball over, this, that, and the third. The Lakers, they're trying to win a championship. We know they're not going to win one, but that's what they're striving for. What are we striving for? Oh, well, let's just give Bill $45 million.
I didn't know that was the thing.
Evidently. It seems to be a thing because I'm seeing it on my timeline. You might not follow some of the people that I follow, but they're constantly trolling Lakers fans because of the fact that the player, Russell Westbrook is stinking it up. But at the end of the day, the Lakers won a championship just 2 seasons ago. Just 2 seasons ago. And we sitting here trolling them?
Yeah, it's not our concern. That's not our concern.
I mean, come on. What are we doing here? At the end of the day, this team needs to play winning basketball. And right now, this team is not playing winning basketball. They won a game, but it's not winning basketball. But it's not fair to just blame one player. Let me see. What did this one particular player do? Oh, well, he stunk it up. Well, you was advocating for this player. Now you're mad because he's not doing what you wanted him to do. But he's told you why he's not performing. He's saying the volumes of shots is not there. We're catering to one guy. So, hey, if I'm told that I got to make sure this guy gets his shots, that's what I'm going to do. And I just got to get mine when I get mine. I don't get it.
So let's turn the page to Wizards poll. So, State of the Wizards, we did start a Wizards poll.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Bill, the question was asked on State of the Wizards: should the Wizards field calls for Bill? If no, feel free to explain. 95% of Wizards fans said that they believe that we should start fielding calls for Bill. What's your take on that?
I don't disagree. We should.
Yeah. I agree.
I think we'd be foolish not to. I am concerned that the longer we hold on to Bill, that the value of him will probably decrease, and we may not be able to get what we could have gotten for him a year ago if we moved him. But at this point, you kind of already know what direction this team is going in. If you sign him to a long term deal, we're going to be in cap hell if you do that. We can't get better with Bradley Beal making $45 million. So our best bet is to put him on the market and listen to offers.
I agree. I think that uh, the people are speaking. 95% is a huge number to fill calls for Bradley Beal. I think that, you have a vast majority of a Wizards fan base out there who believes that it's time to move on past Bradley Beal. And they're kind of tired of seeing the same old every single year with him as the leader of this team. This is partly coinciding with our criticisms and us being critical of him as a leader, because the 95% in the poll actually speaks to that. It speaks to the frustration level that fans have of him as a leader of this team. So let's go to the next one. The next one is Wes at fault for the Wizards' recent losing skid? This was deadlocked at 50% with a total number of 30 votes. Is Wes at fault for the Wizards' recent losing skid? K. Jose, 50% too high or what?
50% is too high in my opinion. I think he's about 20% of the blame. What I think that he should do is stand his ground. And what I mean by standing his ground is, if management is telling him that he should change his style of offense or his playbook to appease certain players, that's where I'm going to fault Wes Unseld Jr. on that, where he should stand his ground. He didn't sign up to try to appease certain players. He said in his presser that he wanted to develop some of these guys, which he's doing that with Denny. He's also was planning to do that with Rui, but Rui hasn't played on the court. But what we're seeing is he's being forced to appease certain players, and he's actually coaching with his hands tied behind his back. So that's where that 25% comes, because he's not really holding the players, or should I say leadership, accountable for the poor play in that losing skid, which I believe will have another one coming.
Yeah. So, I agree. I think it's about 25%. I think that what's important is to me, it has a lot to do with Denver, because there's been growing frustration from the Wizards fan base in regards to his lack thereof of performance and his lack of aggression. And Wes Unseld Jr. has been asked numerous times, not just once, but numerous times, about Dinwiddie's role, what he thinks Dinwiddie should do. And there's been no fixing this, especially when you have a no-tolerant coach such as Wes Unseld Jr. He's all about accountability. Why hasn't that been fixed? Why hasn't that been addressed? Is there any other underlying issue that's hampering Dinwiddie? Nothing's being said to that extent. Nobody's talking about injury or anything like that. This is just strictly basketball. This is strictly about volume of shots, about field goal attempts, about equal opportunity. This is being explained by one player to the coach. And then the coach's response is, hey, maybe I should do a better job, calling plays for Spencer Dinwiddie. So I kind of blame I kind of blame Wes Unseld Jr., for that. Now, it is Spencer Dinwiddie's responsibility, of course, as the basketball player, to fix his own game. I mean, Wes Unseld Jr. can't make him do it. So that's really the only thing. Other than that, what can he really do about Bertans? What can he really do about, Aaron Holiday, who shows up when he wants to? What can he do about certain guys that just don't contribute to the team? There's nothing he can do. Only thing he can do is tell these guys, hey, you know what your responsibilities are. You know what your role is on this team. You are being paid a lot of money to go out there and perform for this basketball team. That's all he can do. And lastly, the development and the growth under Denny or with Denny under Wes Unseld Jr. isn't getting enough shine. Like Denny's growth and his improvement defensively is squarely on the shoulders of Wes Unseld Jr. He's not getting enough credit for that.
Right.
So, you can't say 50% if, guys like Denny's improving, and you see that guys are still playing hard for the coach. You can't say 50%, it'd be different if you're not seeing a steadfast improvement in certain individuals, certain players on this team, but you are seeing that. So I wouldn't say 50%. I say 25.
So before you go to the next thing, I would have a question that I would just pose out there to Wizards first. If you feel that Wes Unseld Jr. is 50% of the issue, this losing skid, why didn't you guys hold Scott Brooks accountable like this last season? Exactly. Why you wait until Wes Unseld's first year? We're seeing where people are blaming Wes, saying that he's a terrible coach. But I'm like, why you guys? It's like why you guys didn't have that same energy for Scott Brooks? Why did it take you guys year 5 to finally realize that Scott Brooks just was not a fit for this team? You allowed Scott Brooks to have 5 years, and now you're already ready to turn the page on Wes Unseld Jr. in his first year.
It's not Wes's fault. It's not Wes's fault. I mean, there's a lot of inheritance with the culture here. A lot of inheritance.
Agreed.
So the next one was, what type of team do you see the Wizards? Top 6 in the East or play-ins? 10% said top 6, 90% said play-ins. So there's a lot of fans out there who believe that we're a play-in team.
Newsflash, your Eagles won 27-17.
Yeah, I looked over my shoulder real quick. I got that score real quick. That's good. We Gucci. We flying.
All right, my fault. I ain't mean to interrupt that though.
Sorry to the Washington football team. I know y'all thought I was a Washington football head. Nah, that ain't the case. I fly high over here, man. That was a good win. But go ahead.
So the last one was about we're a play-in team, man. In no sense of buts about it. We're a play-in team, damn near lottery team. We didn't have high expectations for this team this upcoming season. It was a lot of players that are unproven. The players that are on this team are actually giving us the same thing they did in their previous stops, with the exception of Dinwiddie, because Dinwiddie is not playing well. We at least was expecting him to average about 12 points. I think we said that in the State of the Wizards episode 1, that he was going to probably put up about 12 points. He hasn't been doing that lately. But this team is definitely not a shoe-in for the playoffs. They're definitely going to be battling for the play-ins. Mm-hmm. And I know with that type of team, we're going to hear the same old excuse that, the supporting cast was not that good and this, that, and yada, 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 yada. I'm not trying to hear that either.
Yeah. I see that we are definitely a play-in team. I mean, no doubt about it. Right now, we're only a game ahead of the 12th spot. Just one game. There's 4 teams that separate 12 to 7. So, my thing is, this team can easily drop down. We can't afford another losing streak. It's just that simple. You go on another losing streak, then you're right there at 12, possibly 13th, depending on what, the 13th seed does, So it's going to be tight all the way up to the end. No doubt about it. A lot of parity in the bottom half of the East.
Yep.
Even a lot of parity at the top half. But the thing is about the Eastern Conference, We already know Kyrie's coming back for the Brooklyn Nets. He'll be playing their away games now, I do believe. So the idea for Brooklyn, the idea for Milwaukee, the idea for some of those powerhouse Eastern Conference teams is to get healthy and to start playing basketball the way they know how to play basketball.
Absolutely.
It's normal business for these guys. Okay.
Of course.
For us, this is more so just a reality check that we are a team that should be sitting at the bottom half of the East, and we should be sitting at 9 or 10 or 11th, at mid-season. This is just a reality check. It's unfortunate because we got a taste of what first place looked like, but that didn't last too long. We just don't have the players. We don't have the attitude. We don't have that business as usual mentality on this team yet. And so, anyway, I say all that to say I agree with folks. This is a play-in team.
Let me ask you this, D-Can. Do you think that can be fixed? Do you think that we can be a business as usual type team, a team that comes in with a business mindset? Is that something that can be fixed? And if it is something that can be fixed, what does it look like?
It can be fixed. It absolutely can be fixed. I think Wes is trying to implement that now, that attitude and that culture. This is business as usual. We going out, we handling business, but we have to know our roles. Like this team right now, man, we're so lost in what we should be doing. You already know me. I said that I believe that we were already a 41 at most win team. Okay, we're 41 at most. Anything above that is exceeding expectations. But in order for us to get to that point, just to answer your question, what it looks like being able to finally move past this idea that we should just be catering to one guy, where everyone is getting involved and they're implemented within a system that works well for everybody. Everyone holds each other accountable. Leadership is holding each player accountable. Leadership is trusting each teammate, and leadership is making the right plays down the stretch. If all of those things came together, then it's business as usual with top 5, maybe top 4 team in the East.
Agreed.
Okay. So, and then the last thing, we had a poll run. Should the Wizards trade all players that are over 26 years of age? I think it's about 30 minutes left on that poll, so we're just going to go ahead and close that one. We're sitting at 56% yes, 44% no. Okay, Jose, should we trade all players that are over 26 years old?
Yeah, I think we should. And that basically would be starting to rebuild. What we have here is a team with Bradley Beal, where we have a second tier player and a bunch of third and fourth tier players all in one bunch. The second tier player is the face of the franchise, which you and I both agree he should not be. You definitely need somebody like a Giannis type or a LeBron James type to be that actual face, and Bill actually complements that particular player. Then it would make sense for your Spencer Dinwiddies and your Kuzmas and your Montrezl Harrell, because at least you know for a fact you have your 1A player on the team. But when you got a player that's more of a 2 who's being advertised as a 1A, and they have flaws themselves as far as lack of leadership, being consistent, lack of being clutch in the clutch moments, then you got what we have, which is just a team filled with, you got a gumbo team, just a bunch of, well, I can't say gumbo because you put a bunch of stuff together, it tastes good, but you just got a bunch of players that's just all bunched up together, and it's kind of like, you just don't know what you have. So,
you said we ain't got a gumbo team, we got a Dumbo team, huh?
Pretty much, we got a Dumbo team. We got a bunch of players jumbo together, and a bunch of them are just a bunch of Dumbos. That's what we got. But it ain't no damn gumbo, I'll tell you that, because it damn sure don't taste good when I sit there and watch it. But when we just talked about the Chicago Bulls, look at those teams. Look at that. Look at that. You got Lonzo Ball. When you got Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. When we looked at that roster, I said that's a pretty good roster. But in the back of my mind, I said, well, how the hell is that going to work? Because somebody needs to have the ball in their hands. Well, they're 19-10. They found out a way to make it work, and they're playing defense. And neither one of those players on there are like 1A players, but they make it work.
Well, the thing is, they're unselfish. They share the ball. They want each other to shoot the ball. Like, it amazes me that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan both average 26 points per game. I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen, like, I don't even know how many points was Shaq and Kobe averaging when in their heyday. Like, was it 30 and 26 or 30 and 27? I literally don't remember.
It was something like that, but it wasn't where these two, what's crazy about it. These guys, they make the same amount of shots. They take the same amount of shots, and they're scoring the same amount of points. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that. Like, I really can't. I mean, so they're making it work. They're actually making it work, and it's doable. So when people say, like, I shouldn't have had to say in week 2 that Spencer Dinwiddie and Bradley Beal can't play together, but damn it, they proved me right. The narrative that Wall and Beal couldn't work together, that narrative should have never existed. Because when I look at the Chicago Bulls, how is it that they're able to make it work? How is it that they're able to make it work? Is Zach LaVine and Bradley Beal are kind of like neck and neck? I probably would rather have Zach LaVine over Bradley Beal. He's more of a high flyer.
No question. No question.
I would even take DeMar DeRozan, who's older than Bradley Beal, because one thing DeMar DeRozan is very good at is his mid-range game. That's always been his thing. He doesn't play outside of what he is. We didn't see DeMar DeRozan practicing on a long three, which we have yet to see Bradley Beal shoot so far this season. But my point is that it can work. That was equal opportunity offense. You see it even in Golden State.
Yeah, I mean, you see certain teams that make it work. That's the point.
Make it work.
The point is they make it work.
Here's another team that's a perfect example. Look at what the Minnesota Timberwolves are doing. Well, look at what Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards are doing. These two guys are putting up phenomenal numbers together. So, and then one is a shooting guard and the other one is a center. It's very possible, but each player knows that, hey, I'm here for you, you here for me. We're going to go out here and we're going to win. But if you got one guy looking at it like, look, it's either my way or no way. And if I start seeing you shining over me, then I can just run to management and tell them, hey, look, I can't have this dude doing, outshining me. I'm supposed to be the face. That's a problem. And that's what we're dealing with. And the thing is, and I'll end it here, the Bill apologists don't want to admit that what they're seeing is a player who's literally sabotaging the team for the sake of himself.
And that's, it's hard to come to that conclusion when you're in denial. Like, it's hard to come to that conclusion that one guy is sabotaging the team when you can't bring yourself to the idea that that guy is the problem. That's just going to be a problem that, certain people and certain individuals are going to have with themselves, because I'm not arguing with those folks about that. The thing is the numbers speak for itself. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of having other great players on this team to compare. Like, yeah, Russell Westbrook was here last year. Sure, we had John Wall the year before that. But I think it's pretty evident that even with those two guys, it did not work. So you can't sit there and say, oh, it's because, we don't have, another all-star player on the team alongside Bradley Beal. You had two. You had one Hall of Famer and you had one all-star. And the organization said that didn't work. The organization felt that we didn't need to go in that direction anymore because Bradley Beal and an all-star guard next to him could not coexist. Now that you have a guy who isn't that, and he's not providing you with the results that you want, now you want to go back to that. Now you want to say, okay, well, that's exactly what we need. You guys don't know what you need. Just like when you said that this team was deep just a month and a half ago, and now all of a sudden this team is trash. You don't even believe your own narratives. You don't even believe the things that you're saying about this team when you say it. And that's the problem that I have. So my thing is do you really believe Bradley Beal is a leader? Do you really believe he's a star? Do you really believe he's a franchise player? Because at the end of the day, based off of the things that you guys have said and went back on your own, I don't believe you even believe that. I don't think you truly believe that Bradley Beal is who you say that he is. So come to that conclusion like you come to all of the other conclusions about everybody else, about the team, about the franchise. Come to that conclusion. How is it that everybody else is trash except for this guy? How is it that, oh, well, we thought we was getting this, but we're actually getting this? You know how many times I said that about Bradley Beal? I've said that so many times. Man, I really thought this dude was that dude. Oh, well, we got to try to figure it out with somebody else. Oh, nope, can't do that. We're stuck with this guy. Because somebody else said that they believe that this guy was the guy. I've already come to the conclusion that he's not that guy. But somehow somebody's words are louder than mine. What I'm saying in my brain is not loud enough. It's not loud enough. It's not speaking volume. Somebody else's brain is speaking louder than mine. That this guy is the guy. Whatever. The bottom line is Zach LaVine is Zach LaVine. DeMar DeRozan is DeMar DeRozan. I seen a lot of you guys out there too that said you didn't want DeMar DeRozan over the summertime. I saw a lot of you guys say you did not want DeMar DeRozan here playing alongside Bradley Beal. Don't think I ain't see that. All right. So, that's the thing. Bradley Beal is who he is, and we can't make him somebody that he's not. And that's what I'm getting at. He's not Donovan Mitchell. He's not like Zach LaVine. He's not DeMar DeRozan. Okay, Bradley Beal at best is a third option on a contending basketball team. He is an all-star. He should be respected as such, but we need to stop treating him like he's LeBron James.
Yeah, he's definitely not. Yeah, he's definitely not that. He's not LeBron. He's not Kobe. He's not Kawhi. He's in the same class with the DeMar DeRozans, even the Chris Middletons of the world. You would have to put him in there. On a contending team, that's where he would be. And we have to treat him as such. I understand he's homegrown. He's improved since he's been here. But reality has to sink in that this guy is just who he is. Even last season when Russell Westbrook was here, he was complimenting Russell Westbrook. Westbrook was complimenting him for a little bit. Then when Westbrook decided, okay, enough is enough. Let me be Wes. Let me be Russ. Russ went out there and started getting triple doubles, and then Bradley Beal had to take a back seat. Now Bradley Beal was getting the shots. He averaged 30 points, but the Westbrook fans, they'll run all over that. Oh, well, Westbrook is the reason why Bradley Beal put up those 31 points. But my point is that Beal at best is a complimentary player. I've always said that. That's who he is. And not shame on us, but shame on you for thinking that he was bigger than that. We see you. You know who you are.
Well, that concludes this episode of State of the Wiz. Again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Please check us out on the next episode. And also, please follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. We will show love back. And please drop a comment below and show us some love, and we will show love back. Thank you guys. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. We'll check you guys on the next episode of State of the Wiz. Peace.